Good day everyone, I am Julian Wallace Agoy and today we're gonna talk about reflective practice through performance evaluation. So ano nga ba yung reflective practice through performance evaluation? So reflective practice through performance evaluations help individuals understand their actions, experiences, and result to improve in the future. When the evaluations include feedbacks from students, peers, and supervisors, it becomes more true and meaningful. This process supports a culture of learning, feedback, and continuous personal and professional growth. It also gives individuals different perspective that helps them make better decisions and improve their performance. So kumbaga, reflective practice through performance evaluations is like, thinking back kung paano ka nag-perform as a teacher or as a student teacher or as a student. Like, after mong magturo or makinig, magdemo, so on and so forth, you ask yourself, okay ba yung ginawa ko? Ano yung mga nag-work? Ano yung need pa i-improve? Then, you also get feedbacks from others, like peer, student, or supervisors, para mas ma-figure out mo kung paano ka nag-grow. And it is super important kasi it helps you become better teachers, a better students, or etc. Not just by doing things, but by actually understanding why and the how you do them. Parang you're learning from yourself, not just from books or lectures.
Good day everyone, I am John Brian Piutakan and today I will discussing about the students as evaluators. So what does students as evaluators mean? Students are given the role to give feedback or assess the performance of their teachers, classmates, or even school programs. So basically, in reflective practice through performance evaluation, the term students as evaluators refers to a learning approach where students take an active role in assessing their own performance or the performance of their peers. This strategy shifts students from being passive recipients of feedback to engage participants in the evaluation process, which enhances critical thinking, responsibility, and self-awareness. So there have a examples of students as evaluators. This includes the self-assessment. So self-assessment, it is a students reflect on and judge their own performance. It also promotes self-awareness, responsibility, and goal setting. For example, rating their own contribution in a group project or group performance. So the next one is peer assessment. What is peer assessment? Peer assessment, students give feedback on each other's work using criteria or rubrics, builds empathy, critical observation, and communication skills. For example, evaluating a classmate's presentation using a peer rubric. The next one is criteria and rubrics. This is students use assessment tools like checklist or rubric. The benefits of this, it helps them to understand what quality looks like. For example, using a rubric for acting or editing performance in a short film. So the next one is feedback and discussion. It is a feedback is exchanged between peers and or the teachers. The benefits of this, it encourage open dialogue, reflection, and learning from others. So what are the example of this? The example is the group discussion. After watching performances, identifying strengths and areas to grow. That is one of the example of the feedback and discussion. The next one is ownership of learning. So this is the students take active responsibility for their growth. The benefits of this, they monitor their progress and set personal improvement goals. So example of this is the student decides to work more on voice projection after evaluating their skills. So the next one is the skills and development. So this is focuses on developing both academic and life skills like communication, teamwork, and critical thinking. So the example of this is through repeated evaluation, students become better at analyzing and improving creative work. So the next one is the formative and summative assessment. This is an ongoing evaluations to guide improvement such as drafts, rehearsal, feedback sessions. So that is the formative. While the summative, it is the final evaluation after a task is completed. For example, it's final examination or final performance or project. So the example of this is the peer feedback during rehearsal. It is a formative, and final scoring using a rubric is a summative. So those points is actually are integrated examples and essential elements for the students as evaluators approach. They are part of a system that empowers students to reflect, assess, and grow as their active participants in their own learning. So basically, students as evaluators is not just about peer assessment. It is a deepened understanding of the students for them as to evaluate the performance of their peers, self, and the teachers as well. For example, is maybe the um maybe for the example is that the teachers or I mean the students are actually evaluating the performance of the teachers like we usually do in college, and actually it can apply also to the senior high levels, just like or senior high levels or in college, just like I tell lately, na the example of this is through the bullet points. Thank you.
Hello, good day everyone. I am Teacher Jendi, and at this point I am going to discuss what is peer evaluator. Okay, when we say peer evaluator, it means that your classmates or even your friends at the same level can evaluate or check your creation or your work. For example, you are making a poem, and after reading your own poem, you find or you realize that there's something missing about it. That is why you want your classmate to read your own poem. And after reading your poem, they give some feedback or better title on your poem. And that's it. That is peer evaluator. They are evaluating your own work. Your colleague, your classmates, or even your friends are evaluating your own work. Now we have here judgment by friends is a good motivator. Why? Because when your classmates gives you scores or feedback about your work, it somehow gives you or motivates you to do better next time, right? For example, Maria is doing or tries harder to do her projects on the subject arts because her classmates gives her idea, tips, and encouragement on how to do it better or make it more beautiful. Next, we have students improve by assessing each other's work. Why? Because you learn something when you review your classmates or your friends' work and you do better with that. For example, Maria noticing her mistakes or grammar mistakes after reading Anna's essay. Now, because at some point, for example, you are done with your essay and you are reviewing your own essay, you are reading your own essay, and then you didn't notice that you have mistakes. That is why you passed it. But after that, your classmate reviewed your essay. She noticed that you have lots of mistakes, especially grammars, and you also have mistakes with the spellings. That is why it is very important to have your peer as an evaluator, because you are both growing and encouraging each other to do better next time.
Magandang umaga sa lahat. Ako nga pala si Binibining Desiree Gonzaga at ako ang magpapatuloy sa ikatlo. Number 3. Opportunity to grow. By giving and receiving feedback, everyone learns more and improves. For example, after group peer reviews, the whole class writes better essay in the next activity. Next, better informed grades. Teachers get more ideas from peer feedback to give fairer grades. For example, a teacher noticed consistent feedback about Lisa's group work and uses it to adjust her final mark. That's all. Thank you.
Ngayon, dumako naman tayo sa supervisor as evaluator. So, supervisor as evaluator is a process where teachers, managers, or higher authorities assess the performance, behavior, or progress of the students or employees to provide feedback, guidance, and support for improvement. So, dito no, klarong-klaro na ang supervisor as evaluator ay ito yung nagbibigay ng feedback sa mga mag-aaral o employee kung may kailangan bang i-improve or support para sa kanilang improvement. So first dito is bahagi sa supervisor as evaluator. First is observation and assessment. Observation and assessment, ito yung mga pagsubaybay at pagsusuri sa aktual na mga gawain o kilos ng isang estudyante or tao upang matukoy ang kanilang o may kailangan bang support sa kanilang mga kakayahan or may kahinaan ba sila. So para pagbutihin pa nila ang kanilang ginagawa. So second is feedback and guidance. So ang feedback and guidance na madali lang ito yung pagbibigay ng feedback sa mga students or employee. At ang guidance naman, ito yung gabay na upang mas maitama kung may kailangan bang pagbutihin sa kanilang mga ginagawa. So sa pangatlo is the professional development. So ito yung pagbibigay ng tulong sa patuloy na pag-unlad ng kaalaman sa kasanayan ng isang employee o estudyante. At ngayon ipagpatuloy naman ni Ginoong Dominic.
Magandang araw sa ating lahat. Ako nga po pala si Ginoong Dominic Villaber. At ngayon ay pag-uusapan natin ang pagpapatuloy sa supervisor as evaluator. So ang pang-apat na ginagawa ng supervisor kapag sila yung evaluator ang performance appraisal. So ito ay formal na proseso ng pagtatasa sa kalidad ng trabaho ng isang tao. So nagbibigay ang supervisor ng feedback batay sa pamantayan ng institusyon upang malaman kung ang empleyado ba o ang estudyante ay epektibo sa kanilang ginagawa. So layunin din ito na kilalanin ang mahusay na gawain at saka itama kung ano yung mga pagkukulang ng estudyante at saka yung mga empleyado. So ang panglima naman ay ang documentation. So ang documentation ay isang mahalaga ring bahagi ng pagiging isang evaluator kasi dito kasi sa documentation tinatala ng supervisor o ng evaluator ko ang kanilang mga obserbasyon at saka yung mga rekomendasyon nila sa performance ng empleyado o estudyante. Kasi ito ay magiging batayan nila kung halimbawa magbibigay sila ng training program no upang mas mapabuti pa or ma-improve yung performance ng estudyante o ng isang empleyado. So ang panghuli ang mentorship and support. So hindi lamang natatapos no ang gawain ng isang evaluator sa pagsusuri lamang ng performance ng estudyante o ng isang empleyado kasi sila rin ay nagsisilbing tagapayo no at tagabigay suporta sa pamamagitan no ng kanilang pag-mentor at pagbibigay nila ng gabay o inspirasyon at kaalaman sa mga kanilang nasasakupan upang maabot ang kanilang mga potensyal. So halimbawa na lamang may isang bagong guro na nahihirapan sa classroom management. So maaari niya yung tulungan upang mas ma-improve no at mapabuti pa yung kanyang classroom management.
Magandang araw sa lahat. Ako si Mayka Gomez at ako ang magbabahagi sa kabuuan or ang conclusion. So, a reflective practice through performance evaluation is essential for continuous learning and development. So, ang ibig sabihin nito ay ang pagdinilay-nilay sa iyong mga karanasan at ang pagkuha ng feedback mula sa iba ay mahalaga para sa iyong pag-unlad. Hindi lamang ito pagtingin sa resulta ng iyong trabaho, kundi ito rin ay pagsusuri sa buong proseso. Ano ang naging mas maayos, ano ang pwedeng mapabuti, at ano ang iyong mga natutunan. So, ang iba't ibang pananaw mula sa iyong mga supervisor, mga kasamahan, or sa mga estudyante ay magbibigay sa iyo ng mas komprehensibong pag-unawa sa iyong mga lakas at kahinaan. So, ang layunin lamang nito ay hindi lamang sa pagwawasto ng mga pagkakamali, kundi ang pagbuo ng mas epektibong gawi at kasanayan. So, ang patuloy na pag-aaral mula sa iyong kasanayan, sa iyong mga karanasan, parehong tagumpay o kabiguan man, ay maghahanda sa iyo para sa mga darating na hamon sa hinaharap at magtulak ito sa iyo na mas mataas na antas ng kahusayan at produktibidad bilang isang guro or trabahante.